What prison life was like for me in the 1990s, part 2.
These are inmates that are assaultive, disruptive throughout the department, and they're segregated 23 hours a day. They're allowed out 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. They are repetitive offenders. They're people that have been through the system 2-3 times, and they're here again. Compassion? I have no compassion for anyone.
Hello everybody, it's Mike, the Baldadonis. Boom! If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Mike the Baldadonis, and I talk about many different topics. Sharing life experiences, one video at a time is my motto. I talk about being in my early 20s, doing 5 years and 3 months in prison for a first-time drug offense. Only to get out, unhappy with my body, I decided to do steroids, gained 105 pounds of pure muscle, only to have a heart attack and other steroid-related health issues. I currently deal with migraines and vertigo from today's environmental pollution, today's foods, and VOCs. I buy and sell cars as a hobby. I bring you guys along with me, showing you the pros and cons of each vehicle. I have Dr. Peter Pacoco. He is my mentor, the reason why I'm on YouTube, and he talks about inspiration. I have Gary from the gym. He talks about conspiracy theories, and I bring other people on board, sharing their interesting life stories as well. Okay, so this is part 2 of what it was like for me to be in prison in the 1990s, living in the Boston area. I was doing 5 years for a first-time drug offense. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and you can watch some of those older videos that I talk about. And the last video you can watch right here. And I don't really know where to start with this because there's just 5 years of stuff going on. There's, schooling, work stuff that I used to do, visits, food, the gym. There's plenty of things I could talk about. So I'm going to take a little bit and throw it in there and make a little video about it, okay? So back in 1992, my Walpole number, they sent me to Walpole, Mass, MCI Cedar Junction, 52592 was my inmate and con number. I was there for a week. They shipped me off to Concord, Massachusetts, where it is a prison where you get classified, all right? And I sat there for 3 months in the summer of 1992. Not a whole lot to see there. It was your basic, you had your fights here and there. I didn't get into any fights. I did get ripped off my canteen while I was in the shower. I do recall, that's about it, really getting screwed over. But I do remember one fight where a kid put 2 AA batteries in a sock, thinking that he was gonna knock somebody out. So that was entertaining, seeing that. You can imagine the chow hall. It's a giant room and everybody walks along the wall and you're waiting for your disgusting food. They have fake coffee, they had hard-boiled eggs, milk, a piece of fruit, maybe, I think, toast. That was your breakfast, okay? Lunch was garbage too, maybe some, I don't remember. It was just all disgusting food. They just want to give you empty calories so they can say they gave you X amount of calories per day by law, okay? And a lot of it was filler, mostly cake. Okay, so after being shipped off from Concord, I was hoping to go to a minimum security right off the bat because I'm a non-violent offender. I was a first-time drug offender. So I was hoping that I was going to a minimum security. That did not happen. They sent me to Barica House of Correction, which was a county jail. Other state inmates came with me. They have no choice because we get shipped off to wherever you get shipped off to. A couple of them went back to state because I don't blame them. You get treated differently in county versus state. State, you got a little bit more stuff for you. You're doing, longer time. County inmates were doing 2.5 years. That's about it, you know. They can be sentenced twice. So they can do 2.5 years, 2.5 years. The maximum they can do is 5 years in the county jail. This is at the time. So some of the guys that are doing big time that went there, they would destroy the TVs or destroy property, end up going back to state with new charges for destruction of property, especially, you know, DOC, Department of Correction. All right, so some of the things that I seen at Barica. Barica was okay for me, but at the same time, it was annoying because it was nice because it was kind of close to my house, my parents' house, maybe 40 minutes away, half hour. So my friends and family can visit me. That was nice and easy. That was cool. But let's see. Again, it was an old part of the jail. It was hot all the time. It was sweaty. Even the walls were sweating. You got your canteen once a week. My girlfriend at the time. Now here's a tip. Do not ever have a relationship where you're going to prison. I got engaged at 22 years old because I was going to jail, hoping that this girl that I love so much was gonna stick with me. You know, the stupid shit you do when you're young and in love. I spent a lot of money on an engagement ring, and she lasted about 3 months coming to visit me. She couldn't take it no more. I don't blame her, but the way she did it, it was not cool. I asked for my stuff back after she broke up with me, and upon that request, she said, that's fine. I'll leave everything out in the yard by her back door so my sister and my friend can go pick it up. Unfortunately, when they got there, oh, it must have got stolen. Well, that's convenient. A $5,000 ring from 1992, and today's money is what? I don't know. Along with my property, all of a sudden just got stolen. So Maria from Melrose, thank you very much for that nice life lesson, never to do that again. Anybody that's listening, please do not get engaged. Please do not have a relationship when you're young and have a long time to go, because you're gonna just be miserable like I was. I thought about that girl all day and night for 5 years. That's true, unfortunately. So she ended up calling up the House of Correction and putting a block on her phone saying stop calling and to stop sending her letters. All right. So what else? Okay, so some of the things I seen in Barica. At the time, they weren't transgenders, but they were males trying to be females. And some of the things I thought was funny, I don't know how they got it in, but they got like panties in, walking around with short shorts. And we had vitamins that were red. They would take their fingertips or whatever the hell they did and wipe off the red and put it on their lips for lipstick. Seeing them walking around, I thought that was really weird and interesting. And one was built jacked. It was quite horrifying to see, to be honest with you. You had Carlita, you had Dee Dee, and I don't remember what the built one was. So they used to do our laundry for us. So that was their job. They were the laundry girls. But anyways, whatever, they did the laundry for me, and you paid them whatever, like a couple bags of rice or something, cigarettes or whatever at the time it was. So that was their jobs. That's what they did. Let's see. You get tickets. You know what a ticket is in prison? It is when you get into a fight or you have contraband. That's a ticket. So here's an example of how I got 2 tickets. One was because if you're living in an area, you're going to spend your time keeping it clean. Me and my roommate, we got contraband, which was wax. The wax that they wax the floors on. If you're gonna live somewhere, you want it nice and clean, like I said. And you want a good roommate that's also clean. You just want to have the cleanest environment as possible. You can have some really dirty people and you can have some real clean people. So I got lucky on some occasions with some good, clean people. And on this occasion, they would do cell checks randomly. So first thing in the morning, we got woken up, get out, okay, and they shook us down and they go through all your properties, see if there's any contraband or whatever it might be, like maybe drugs. And what they found, which was a ticket, wax, because we waxed our floor so it was nice and shiny, nice and clean. And you just want a nice house or a nice cell. So I got a ticket for that. Now, I talk about fighting. No, I don't talk about fighting because I didn't really get into many fights because I was a first-time drug offense. All right, so I didn't snitch. And being a snitch in prison is not going to get you far. And so snitches, people know who you are when you're in jail. You get labeled quite quickly. The inmates will tell you fast, and also the staff. Some of the staff members will tell you really quickly who is the snitch, and usually you got beaten up quite often if you were a snitch. If you weren't, if you didn't put yourself in protection or protective custody, PC. You could PC yourself and be in protective custody if you felt frightened or scared of other inmates, okay? Matter of fact, there was a clown, Tookie the Clown, for child molestation, I believe, back in the early or late 80s, and he was there while I was there in the 90s. Let's see. Okay, so talking about a fight. And I'm going to talk about another crazy guy too. This is where things come pretty interesting. While I was there, I didn't know the person at the time. All I saw was this big dude. His name was Sully. To find out he actually came from Everett, Massachusetts, my hometown. So I was like, cool. But first time seeing him, he was just this big dude. So if you saw him anywhere on the street, you just thought he was a heavy set guy. You didn't think nothing of it. Find out, he's breaking like records, bench pressing, warming up with 405, warming up. Okay, so he's a very strong person, but he had to let people know that he was kind of crazy. So what did he do? He'd just walk in the yard, drop his drawers, and take a big dump right in front of everybody. It was funny. At the same time, it's like, this guy's crazy, so whatever. But that's my first impression of him. Now, while I was in jail, I'm waiting for somebody to come in. Right before I went to jail, right before my motorcycle accident while I was out on bail, before I even got arrested, there was a person a couple towns over that was one of my guys if I needed to buy my drugs, my cocaine, okay? I never actually bought anything off him, but I was friends with them. And one time, my guys were out. I had one regular guy, and there was then there was other options, and he was like one of the options if I actually needed to buy something. So I ended up having a 3-day bender partying with my friends, and I needed some more. My guys were out, and I reached out to this guy. His name was John, and I went to meet him. I gave him my money, $1,000 for 1 ounce of coke. Now, we're talking about 1990, all right? So this is when this all happened, in 1990. I waited in the car for over an hour. He stole my money. Never seen him again, and I got screwed, okay? Fast forward 2 years, now I'm in Barica. Guess who's coming in? Johnny. But, there is a big but. He had an older brother named Danny. Me and Danny actually got along, and Danny at the time was much bigger than I was. He worked out, he was older, and this is pre-workout Mike the Baldadonis, and he didn't scare me that much. I would have fought him anyways, but at the same time, I know I probably would have lost, but I would have gave it a go, this guy Danny. But his brother was another topic or another subject or another matter altogether, because when he came in, when you know somebody screwed you over, you know you're gonna get him. Now Danny, the brother, is telling me, Mike, you're not gonna fight my brother because me and you will have a problem. Whatever, okay, no problem, all right. But when he came in the door into the common area, I was just like this, too pissed off. You know what I mean? You fucked me over, man. So one of the correctional officers grew up in my town. He was cool. I told him the story of what happened. And when we all went in from having our break, like a rec time, you have a couple hours or an hour or whatever it is, and then you get to go back into your rooms, okay, or your cells. So the doors open up, these bar doors that led all the way down to your cell. The correctional officer looked the other way for a little while I ran down and got my revenge. I beat him up. I did what I had to do. So I got a ticket, and I was doing 10 days in my cell without getting out. Okay, so that was a ticket that was well worth it. It didn't do anything to add time to my bid. And the brother threatened me. Came up screaming and threatened me. Now this is where Sully comes in. He comes over and says, "Hey, you're from Everett, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "What's your name?" I said, "My name's Mike." He says, "I'm Sully." I go, "I know who you are." And he's like, "Don't worry about it." So he threatened the other kid, Danny, to stay away from me. So Sully, thank you very much for helping out a fellow Everett kid. And yeah, so that was cool. I got my revenge. I mean, the guy stole $1,000 from me. So interesting enough, a couple of years later, after I'm out of jail, I seen that kid, John, and he didn't look too good. I think he had some kind of illness, and he was very skinny. So let's think back, 1990s, what's going on in that era? So he got sick, and I kind of felt bad for him. So that's a couple of stories right there. So let's go to Carver, Massachusetts at MCI Plymouth, where they sent me back down to a state prison, my minimum security jail or prison, where I spent my last 2+ years, and what that was like. I did a lot of schooling there. I got building. I learned how to be in the carpentry class. I took de-leading programs. I can de-lead a house. I got certified for that. I was in the kitchen. I worked in the kitchen for a year. I worked in the stock room, so I got to eat pretty good, and I thought that was pretty great. But some of the crews that I went on, I helped out with working crews. So I would go to different towns in southeastern Massachusetts, like Taunton, Fall River area, Plymouth, picking up all the trash on the highways. You find all kinds of stuff on the highways. That crew I despised. I never wanted to be on that, but that's the first off. That's your first job, pretty much. And then you graduate to a better crew, depending on what kind of person you are. If you're a decent guy and you actually work and you could maintain, you're cool with everybody, you got picked it to do better jobs. So I ended up going to the Carver crew, which I took care of Carver, Mass, Plymouth, Mass. I would go to Plymouth Rock, clean up all that area, get to hang out with all the people. And this is what it looked like back in 1995. Just starting to work out, so I'm starting to look like a little muscular, but I had long hair, but I was losing my hair. So I had a mohawk with long hair down my ass, walking the streets of Carver, Massachusetts and Plymouth with all these other inmates. So we had a small crew, maybe 8 or so, maybe. So some of the other jobs, I was a grave digger. I would dig out graves in the old graveyards of Carver, Massachusetts and Plymouth. So yep, we were grave diggers. That was interesting. And then there would be other crews. I would go down to Dorchester, Massachusetts in snowstorms. So in the middle of the night, they would ship us to Dorchester, Mass, and take care of schools with the blizzards down there. This is 1996. I remember being on one of the bridges that the snow was up to here. Like literally, if you were walking on the bridge and the snow was up to here was the top of the, holding on to the bridge. So we were so far up that we could just fell in, and we had to shovel all that snow into the ocean. That was one of the jobs. We would do ice skating rings, get on top of the roof, shovel all that stuff so it wouldn't collapse. A lot of painting, stuff like that. So those jobs are really cool. It got you out. And correctional officers, COs. There were some cool correctional officers throughout each place. There were also some shitty ones, obviously, because that's how it is. You have some ones that will just try to fuck you over, while some of them just want to get by, do their job, and have less stress on them, and they're more friendly to you. So Berica was cool because I grew up with 1 or 2 of them. Kava was cool too because we had like 4 women and they were all cute. One was an older woman. She wasn't cute that much, but being in jail for 5 years, she looked cute. But we did have a thin one. She was really cute. We had Karen. She was shapely. She was sexy. And we had an older one named, what was her name? There was Karen. I forget the other one's name, but she was cute too. She was older. She was probably like 52, 53, and I'm in my mid-20s. But she was attractive too. There was some good-looking women. And yeah, so guys, I want you to ask me anything, all kinds of questions. I would love to keep talking about this because there's so many things I could talk about. Really, there's 5 years of stuff to talk about. So I guess that will be it for now. All right. So until the next video, everybody, Baldadonis out.